It's 3 p.m. on the month's busiest Friday in a small office stacked with closing files. You're juggling phone calls while clearing wire instructions for a closing that starts in 20 minutes. An email arrives from a lender you've worked with for years, containing the settlement statement you expected. Everything looks correct because the branding and the sender's name match perfectly. You download the file because slowing down now means a family misses their keys and your best partner gets angry. Within 10 minutes, your processing screen starts flickering and then freezes completely. You try to reboot, but instead of a login, a message says all escrow files and client records are locked. This hidden vulnerability, exposing title firms to hackers, isn't a technology failure, but a failure of routine. In one afternoon, a decade of trust and hundreds of thousands of dollars are at risk. Thinking your antivirus and small size make you invisible is the mistake. Your role in transactions makes you the primary target. You'll learn how hackers find habit gaps so you can fix them before a closing fails. You catch yourself thinking, being the best at what I do does not include the knowledge needed to negotiate shark-infested cyber waters. You've already realized that the cheap solution ended up costing us more. Now you just want to get to the point where you can say, I just want to sleep at night knowing we're protected. I'm Kevin, founder of Sentree Systems. For over 26 years, we have been helping small businesses like yours combat hidden vulnerabilities that expose them to hackers. Small title firms sit in a unique spot, making introductions for massive money and private data with small teams. Real estate wire fraud has increased by over 140% because the payoff for one successful attack is so high. Most firms feel safe using the same software as everyone else, like trusting a stranger wearing the right uniform. The risk hides in outdated ways people handle everyday tasks, like ignoring a red flag while opening attachments or verifying wire changes. An imposter doesn't need a complex plan when they can simply wait for a quick assumption during a high-pressure deadline. This makes your most trusted friend in the office the biggest point of exposure without even knowing it. David runs a small title company with a dedicated staff of 4 employees. Over the years, he has worked hard to build a rock-solid reputation for never missing a closing date, which is exactly why local real estate agents trust his firm with their biggest and most complex transactions. It is currently the absolute peak of the summer buying season, the busiest time of the year for everyone in the industry. The office is a constant hive of activity, and David's team is grinding through 10-hour days just to stay on top of the massive volume of files hitting their desks. While David is sorting through a mountain of messages to keep the afternoon closings on track, he sees an email from a local real estate agent he's worked with for years. The message looks completely standard and requests an urgent update to the commission wire instructions for a high-value closing scheduled for later that day. David knows he should probably pick up the phone to verify, but the agent is usually hard to reach and the closing is only 2 hours away. He decides to use the link provided in the email, which points to what looks like an updated portal for secure document handling. To see the new wire details and get the file updated, he types his administrative credentials into the login screen and hits enter. The rest of the afternoon is a blur of paperwork and phone calls until about 2 hours later, when the firm's bank calls with an urgent question. The bank wants to verify a suspicious $450,000 transfer that was just initiated from their escrow account to an offshore bank in another country. David feels the air leave the room as the weight of the bank's question hits him. He stares at his computer screen in total silence, realizing that the closing funds for a first-time homebuyer are completely gone. and likely impossible to get back. He calls the real estate agent in a total panic. But she is confused and denies ever sending that email or changing any wire instructions. David is forced to sit down in his conference room with a young couple to tell them they cannot move into their house today because the money for their first home has vanished. Word of the breach spreads through the local broker community within days as the story of the stolen funds becomes the talk of the town. By the end of the week, 3 of David's major partners pull every single one of their files from his firm. Unable to trust his office with their clients' money anymore. If you want to avoid the same outcome, it comes down to never trusting a digital request for a financial change without a second verbal confirmation. Standard security tools cannot stop a user from handing over the keys to the house when they believe they are following a legitimate business request. David didn't lose that money because his software failed him. He lost it because he was trying to stay fast and efficient during his busiest season. This shows how a single moment of high-pressure decision-making can bypass every safety net you have in place. It's a pattern that reveals how the most reliable employees can accidentally put the entire business at risk. I remember a Tuesday morning when my personal line started buzzing. It was the owner of a local title firm I'd met at a networking event about 3 years ago, and just from the way he breathed into the phone, I knew he was about to collapse. He sounded desperate as he explained that he tried to fix things himself by running a basic security scan. Every time he hit the start button, though, the software just froze and crashed, and he was left with no idea what to do next. When I finally connected to his server remotely, the operational reality was a mess. I didn't see folders or documents. I saw thousands of files where every single extension had been changed into a meaningless string of random characters. The owner had me on speakerphone, and I could hear the sheer panic in the office. His assistant was audibly crying in the background because they had a closing happening right then in the lobby, and they couldn't even print the check to finalize the transaction. We soon realized that 7 years of the firm's digital life had vanished into a black hole. Everything from past closed deals and tax records to unrecorded deeds was now encrypted, locked away by someone else's key. The timeline was the worst part. After checking the system logs, I found that the attacker hadn't just struck that morning. They had been sitting inside the email system for 6 weeks, just watching the way the staff talked to lenders and handled money. I had to give him a diagnosis that stripped away any mystery. The hacker didn't actually pick a lock to get in. They were essentially invited in through an old remote access tool that the firm had left running, unpatched and ignored for 2 full years. He went completely silent for a long time after that truth landed. The first thing he asked, when he finally found his voice, was if he was going to have to call his clients and tell them their social security numbers were now on the dark web. We were able to salvage something. We found an old backup on a drive that happened to be disconnected from the network. We spent 48 straight hours in the office, barely eating or sleeping, just to rebuild the database and get them back on their feet. But the damage to their reputation was permanent, especially with the local bank they had worked with for 20 years. Once the bank saw the vulnerability, they decided the risk was simply too high and froze the firm's line of credit, ending a 2-decade partnership. I've seen this exact same pattern play out with law firms, medical practices, and accounting offices. It almost always stems from the mindset that they are too small to be a target, which is the exact belief a hacker relies on to succeed. The businesses that actually stay safe are the ones that realize the most dangerous thing in the office isn't some high-tech threat. It's usually just an old process or an outdated piece of software that everyone has grown to trust too much. If you could rethink one thing today, Let it be the assumption that your small size makes you invisible to cybersecurity threats. Based on what we discussed, you should use our cyber health check and see exactly where you're exposed and what to fix first. The link is in the description. In the next video, I'll show you the one thing you can do to protect yourself from this threat.